Hello there, welcome to the channel. This is JJ Atkins Art, and I couldn't be more pleased that you're coming in here and watching this video today. This one's something of an introduction to a new series I'm going to be starting called Invitation to Life. Invitation to Life is going to be the main title for a series of drawings, maybe we can call them kind of single panel web comics, that I'm going to be working on periodically in between some of the other art that I post to the channel. So, to be a little bit more clear about this, I've spent a little over a year now doing up pictures for my channel, and they've mostly kind of come under the category of caricature. Something I have a huge interest in, something I have a big passion for, and something I've really enjoyed learning about because it's something I kind of fumbled around with in some of my younger years to not much success. I think I've kind of worked on caricatures to a point where there's not really a whole lot new to be said on the subject. Again, it's not to say I won't be doing caricatures in the future, but they're not going to be as frequent just because there's only so many people you can draw before you kind of start to run out of subject matter. In addition to that, when I first envisioned this idea of a channel that I wanted to host and publish content to, I had this idea that I would do something where I'd be able to kind of speak my mind on certain things, to say what occurs to me and what my opinions on various pieces of subject matter were, at least within reason. And I think this comic is going to be an invitation, or at least an opportunity to do that. This comic is going to be a peek into my life, and my life is not necessarily the most fascinating thing in the world, but it does have some interesting tidbits that I think might be relevant to people that find interest in such things. For example, my dogs. This little intro that you're watching right now is really just that. It is an intro, a commercial, a tag piece, if you will, for what this entire series is going to be. So we're watching just some speed art kind of go by on the time lapse of the drawing that I did, but this drawing is really nothing more than the intro for all the pieces to come in the future. In addition, I added a little animation to this. We won't be seeing it in this video, but I added this animation in an attempt to give that intro piece a little bit of a interest prior to getting into the new piece of art that I'll be introducing in each video. Now again, the idea here is to give me a little bit of a voice, to speak to some things that are on my mind, observations of things that I find to be humorous or at the very least a little bit ironic. Again, the dogs are going to be a huge piece of this, no doubt about that. But in other respects, there are going to be some things that are some more serious subject matter, if you will, and to kind of speak to it bluntly, I'll just say right off the bat, for a couple of years now, I've been holding on to a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, specifically pancreatic cancer. It's not something I have a lot of opportunity to talk about for various reasons. Number one, it's an uncomfortable subject matter for a lot of people, and number two, in the midst of a pandemic, you don't really get much of an opportunity to kind of go out and see the world, which is exactly what I want to be doing, considering that I know that I have a limited amount of time left. Now, again, I don't say that to be morbid, I don't say that to be depressing. Again, the idea of a cancer diagnosis can turn off a lot of people, but the reality is that there is a lot of humor and sometimes just some flat-out irony that can be found in living a life with cancer like I do. So I'm going to speak to it. I want to have some comics in relation to that. I want to speak to that subject matter, and hopefully in a way that maybe generates good conversation around the topic. That's kind of the intent, to get my voice heard, but maybe give other people that may be suffering from similar issues the opportunity to kind of find a means to talk about it themselves. I don't know that this is necessarily something that's going to get a huge audience, but that's not really the point. The point is that I have something to say, and I want to say it, and I'm hoping that in that some people will find at least a little bit of interest in it, and maybe at least maybe have some interest in seeing things from my point of view when it comes to living through this life in the midst of a pandemic, knowing that time is short, but still feeling this need to waste time because you can't leave your house. It's not interesting juxtaposition I find myself in. Now, having said that, again, I find a lot of comfort in my dogs, so they will be featuring quite prominently in some of the more humorous comics that I have ideas for. But I will let you know that I do have a large slate of ideas for various comics I'm going to be drawing, and hope to introduce them over the next couple of months in this channel. So please, leave comments. Let me know if this is something you like, that you want to see more of, or if it's just something that's just a little bit too over the top and maybe I should back off on the subject matter a little bit. I am interested in opinions on this. This is something that's a little bit new and a little bit scary for me, so I'm kind of curious to kind of see what the reaction might be as this starts coming out and some of the comic ideas start getting presented. Now, having said that, again, just remember this is something of an intro piece, or at least this picture is anyway. This will be a little 10-second intro to each of the videos, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of speak to what this is, what its purpose is. But ultimately, when I do the comics themselves and start publishing them, you're not really going to be hearing this narrative. Tutorials about how stuff was done is meant for other videos. And again, if you have some interest in that, feel free to leave comments, and I can do those sorts of videos in the future in between these comics. But these comics related to this specific subject matter, I'm going to let the jokes or at least the comics speak for itself. These are meant to be narrative illustrations, so you can get the story without any need for me to pipe up and really kind of say anything. So it is going to be a kind of a speed art format, but again, I think the idea here is that you get through the video to the kind of punchline at the end, and hopefully that punchline is something that you find engaging, entertaining, and hopefully good enough to make you come back and look for new content in the future. All right. Real quick, let me introduce the dogs here. The black one, or at least the black and white one, is Snoopy. Snoopy is a real dog. I've had him for over 10 years now, and his younger brother, the brown one there, is Fudge. Snoopy and Fudge are both Boston Terriers. Although they are not related, they are both the same breed, and with that comes its own unique set of challenges. If you have Bostons, I think you know what I'm talking about. Here I am putting in the final title here. Again, the title of this series is going to be Invitation to Life. Maybe even more specifically, we might call it An Invitation to My Life, if you're interested in checking it out. So that's all I got to say on this one. Please come on back. I'll have content posted soon with this new series. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again soon. Take care.